What's up, guys? Welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I'm Daniel and we are back with another podcast. It's been 2 weeks since the last one. Obviously, previously this week I revealed my face, so I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you didn't think I was too ugly. But we are here tonight for a very, very special podcast. I'm really, really excited for this one. I've been hinting it on the channel for a little while, saying that we're going to have a big guest coming on, and here he is tonight, and I'm super excited for this one. To introduce the guest for you all, he's got 170,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, that's a couple more than my 111. Not 111, 111. So it's a pleasure to have him on. I've watched this guy for absolute years. His highest viewed video is 2.8 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. 2.8 million on the Kevin De Bruyne song, and it's Jim Daly. How are you doing, mate?
Very good. What an intro. Thank you. Thank you very much. So how did the face reveal go then?
Yeah, it was alright. The video did semi-okay. It was on Liverpool. So, you know, mixed responses on any videos about Liverpool. Well, it was how to fix Liverpool, and let's just say, you know, differing opinions on that one. But no, yeah,
that could be about a week-long video, couldn't it?
It could be. I seem to be doing a lot of them earlier. I seem to be doing a lot of them at the moment. I did a how to fix Chelsea a couple of weeks back, and I think that was about 30 minutes long. Which, to be fair,
Graham Potter needs to probably watch that video.
Oh, is he going to be in the job longer than 30 minutes to watch it? That's the big
question.
That's the big question. But no, yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have Jim on tonight. Before we do get into the podcast, I do just need to take it to a serious level for a moment, because this is the first podcast I have recorded since the saddening news about Christian Atsu over in Turkey. So I do just want to say rest in peace to Atsu and well wishes to his family and friends. It's not news that anybody wants to receive, and you know, he was an absolute baller, so I hope he's resting well, because got to get the important stuff out of the way. This is going to be a very...
I mean, that's really, really well said. Could I add one to that? And
of course.
We lost John Watson this week.
Of course,
well,
yes.
Broadcasting legend as well. So, yeah, and the Atsu news is absolutely terrible, really, really sad. So not been a good week, but a nice shout out there, I think.
No, and it's not been a good couple of weeks at all. So yes, rest in peace to John Watson as well. And yeah, we'll bring up the level a little bit now. It's not going to be depressing the full. If it was depressing the full way through with a comedian, God, I would be concerned. The podcast would have hit a new low. So we'll get into the questions. I've mentioned, obviously, you do comedy there, and you've done a lot of stand-up shows, as we're going to get onto later on in the podcast. But where did your interest in comedy come from?
Oh, it's a good question, actually. And the answer is I don't really know. I think looking back, I've always been into comedy stuff and funny stuff and just sort of silly stuff. But there was no one real point, I don't think, where it was. I don't know. My brother's quite funny. My mum's very silly. I've got a very eccentric uncle who lives in Madrid. So I think there's characters in my family. So I think I've always been around funny stuff. But a lot of the TV shows back in the day I liked watching were comedy based. I really liked Armstrong and Miller as a kid. It was a sort of sketch show on Channel 4. So a long time ago. Big Train was a bizarre sketch show as well. So yeah, I think it's just always been around me. But there wasn't like one light bulb moment or anything. No. It was just, I think it's just always sort of been there. Yeah, so I wish it was a cooler answer to that. I wish I went to see stand up at this gig and it changed my life. No. It's just always been around, really, and then I thought I'd start doing it myself. And,
fair enough.
10 years later, here we are.
Here we are, yes, and you know, the YouTube channel's done well, and that's the next question. Obviously, you started doing YouTube, doing parodies. You're still doing parodies off and on. You know, a bit of the way into your YouTube career. You started the song that made you famous, I guess it's fair to say, with the 92 English League clubs. Yeah. But we'll get onto that later. Why did you start YouTube?
Now that is a moment that I can go back to. I was working at a football website called Goal.com. Which obviously now quite a big website. Back then it wasn't quite as big, and I was writing articles and stuff. And I'd done a few parodies on SoundCloud. I'm really aging myself in this episode. And one of my colleagues there, a guy called Amar Singh, who now does PR somewhere. Lovely guy. He said, "Why don't you put them on YouTube?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I hadn't really thought about that." So I just basically made the same parodies but to pictures, put them on YouTube. and
here we are.
Yeah, people started watching, and that was it really. So it's down to him.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm scrolling back through the channel now to have a look at the first video. I did have a look. It was on a couple of thousand views, I think. I gave it a listen. It's fair to say the audio quality's got better than the Wayne Rooney hair transplant song.
That's the one.
Yes, very, very interesting one. I'm not expecting to say any about Leicester back then, because I don't think anybody cared about us. I'm not wrong now, am I? 11 years ago, that was 2012.
Around then, yeah,
around then we started becoming good. If there's anything on, there might be something on the Watford game, when Deeney broke my heart and left me crying on my uncle's floor.
I think that is I was thinking about this the other day, like what is like the goal or the football footage you've seen the most in your life, not that through one. Like choice, but just like it's on Twitter or TV or something. And I think for me it's probably the Deeney goal. It just constantly pops up on social media, and
I think it's
just always there.
I think it's probably the same for me. Not because, it pops up, because everyone keeps sending me it. Oh, do you remember when this happened, 9 years ago and you sat on your uncle's floor crying? Yes, I do. Yes, thank you for the reminder.
The moment that broke my life, yeah, funny enough.
Yeah, the moment where I thought, it's never going to get any better than this. This is the darkest moment of my life. And then, we won a couple of things. Yeah.
You did okay, didn't you?
Yeah.
And look at Watford now.
Yeah, so. Exactly. 3 years later, we were winning the Premier League. So.
And actually, I should say, because I'm a Palace fan.
You are.
That was the year that Watford then obviously went to the final. We beat them in the final.
You did.
So hopefully we helped you a little bit get over that semi.
You did. I remember I was actually at a wedding the day of the final. My dad went to me, well, it's a good job anyway, because you wouldn't have been able to watch it. And I'm like, good point. If I was sitting at a wedding waiting for a playoff final to happen, it would have been awful. No, I was checking the result all afternoon going, thank God Palace have won this, because if Watford
Good
won
old Kevin Phillips.
What a player. What a player. We had him at the darker end, the lesser end of his career.
I think he's played for everyone. I think it's like sort of the new Robbie Keane. Like, he's just plays the English Robbie Keane. He's played for everybody.
He probably appeared for Woking's under-9s at the age of 40, to be honest, but, he really did turn up everywhere, didn't he? I've discussed your parodies. You did start making parodies, obviously, and started off with the Wayne Rooney hair transplant song. The thumbnail is probably the thing that's got most improved the most. I don't know how long ago you saw the thumbnail. It's Wayne Rooney with dreadlocks and a moustache and a beard.
Yeah, I just found that on Google at the time, but someone made that. So thank you to whoever made that. But yeah, it's quite striking, isn't it?
It is. It certainly started the career. Why did you start making parodies? And interesting one to start with.
I just think parodies are funny. I just there's something about the mix of like an original song and changing the lyrics. And I actually used to going back to the question about comedy. I only realised sort of the other day. I used to do as a kid. I used to write parodies, and I would often I'd forgotten about this. Perform them to my friends, and then me and two mates. This is in year 7, year 8, maybe in secondary school. We formed a comedy parody act. I can't remember what our name was. There's only 3 of us, and I wrote the songs, and then we performed them in my mate Robin's living room in Tunbridge, and his mum helped us record them onto a CD, and I think she did the artwork as well. And I know the CD was called Live in Your Living Room, which is a terrible name. I can't remember what the band was called. But anyway, this is like 1996, and I was writing parodies. I didn't know it at the time. No. So it's always been in there, and then I started a Crystal Palace fanzine called 5 Year Plan, which is still going, but now it's sort of podcast format. Yeah. And in those fanzines, I used to write parody songs about Palace and Simon Jordan and stuff. So it's just always been there for some. I don't know where it started, or I must have seen some at some point, but I'm a big music fan and obviously a big comedy fan, and it's just a nice little crossover. For sure. And I love making the parody songs. I do like writing my own songs. I'm a very basic guitar player and less than basic singer, as everyone can tell. Yes. But I do like writing the parodies. They're a lot of fun to do, and they're really fun to record. So it's just always been part of my life. Yeah, you don't need to tell me about being a less than basic singer. I'll give a shout out to my dad here, who is a very good singer. Every day, we'll be, or every week we're going back on the motorway. He'll go, Daniel, you see that dead fox over there? Yeah, it's got more musical talent than you. Cheers, Dad. Keep grounded. Always good to keep grounded and good to have support. Just lovely to have support. Yeah, it's great to have family support. Yeah.
I can't sing. I'm not saying I do, but you see that lamppost? Yeah, it's got more musical talent than you. Thank you, appreciate
And
it.
then you go on YouTube and that lamppost has got 3 million subscribers. Oh, for God's sake!
Oh, well, yeah. At that point, it is definitely doing better than me. But no, and talking about creating parodies, there was a guy who the first sort of introduction I had to football sort of songs was a guy called Dave Henson. He made he
Oh my
made
God, I
songs
think I
about
know what this is. Go on. I think I know what this
he
is.
made songs about Leicester City,
Yeah.
amongst other things. The first song I ever listened to from him was Heroes in Blue and White, about our League Cup winning side. And I remember, 2012, 2013, I'd sit on my windowsill and try and rewrite it for the current crop of players. Absolutely awfully. Absolutely awfully, but I'd sit there and try and rewrite it. And then obviously, a couple of years later, he released a song that's winning the Premier League. And ever since then, he's probably my favourite musical person ever. So, Dave, if you're listening, could you drop me some contact details? So I'd really love to get you on
Was
the
he
podcast.
was he the guy that did a song about Jan Kermorgant?
He was. The young
See, this is
Kermorgant
where I
song.
thought you were going. Yeah, and that would have been around the same time that I started, probably
Yeah.
2010 or something.
Yeah, the young Kermorgant song.
To the tune of Turn Around.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right. Is that Bonnie? What's her name? Oh, I can't remember her name. But the bit I remember, Total Eclipse of the Heart. That's what it is, because the final line is, "You were totally shit from the start."
Yeah.
That's how funny that stuck with me. That has stuck with me.
That is incredible. No, Dave Henson, I was talking about him the other day. He was certainly my introduction to the scene. I remember my dad probably hates him because every car ride when I'd get to put the music, it'd be Heroes in Blue and White on repeat. Nothing else, not having any other songs, not Heroes in Blue and White on repeat. I think my whole family hated me. So yeah, Dave Henson, an absolute inspiration of mine. Tried to get him on the podcast, can't find his information anywhere. So Dave, if you're still knocking,
he's gone off the grid.
he has ever since. I mean, he came back to the FA Cup song. But before that, I think he did one song before that since the Premier League win. So he hasn't done much since then. Although if we win another trophy, he'll be back. Not that looks like it's
Of course
happening.
he will. Classic Dave.
Yeah, not that looks like it's happening. But we can hope. One question I do have here. I was talking to one of my mates about having you on. They said they were a big fan as well. And I was talking about YouTube money and me hoping one day I might get monetized. YouTube, if you're listening. What did you spend your first YouTube money on?
It's a good question, actually, because it's not as much as you think in terms of the income. You have to be very. I've made mine in fits and spurts. You have to be very consistent with your content, and then you get into a rhythm of doing it, and that turns into more. The first time I made a bit of money was off the back of the 92 Clubs song. I want to say 2015 or 2016 maybe.
I think it was 2015.
Yeah, it was around then that suddenly I was like, oh, hang on, this is going well.
Yeah.
And started being a bit more consistent. The first thing I bought was a digital camera, a Canon, a Canon GX2 or something. It was. I mean, I googled it and it was the one that all the YouTubers were getting. So I got that as like a for vlogs and stuff like that, and videos. I'm delighted to say that I still use that camera.
Wow.
it's done me. I can't remember. I think it is a Canon GX7 Pro or whatever. It's honestly it's done me so well. So wasn't that expensive because I didn't get a lot of money from my first paycheck, but that has served me well. That's more than made its money back. So
for sure.
Yeah.
There we go then. There's the answer. 2015-16 was the first season you did.
Sounds right.
Yeah, thank you for that. I don't know what made you start it, but clearly whatever made you start it meant that we won the league, and that's how the two things work.
I think I can tell you, actually, I think this might be wrong, but I used to be, I guess I still am, but like we haven't done it since in a comedy football double act with a mate of mine called Dave Bibby. He's also a comedian, lovely guy, and we did some live shows. But we started off doing live shows because he's a stand-up as well, and football called Jim and Dave have lost the dressing room, which is a slightly wordy title. When we did posters, turns out it was way too long for a poster, so we rebranded to Jim and Dave FC. But I think I wrote the 92 songs for that show as like the intro song. I think that's what happened, and then put it on YouTube, which is why I think it's towards the end of the 2015-16 season. I think.
I wonder if it... Well, it's got 1.1 million out, does it? It might say the release date on it.
I think it's towards the end, because I was like, oh, I need to put this on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what happened.
It says 2015, 11th of December.
Right, so there you go. So not quite end of the season, but midway through the season. Yeah.
You've actually put the lyrics in the description. I love that.
Oh, yeah, you have to. You have to.
Yeah, for the...
Otherwise, you just get loads of messages from people saying, Can you tell me the lyrics?
Can you tell me the lyrics?
Description.
Yeah.
Makes my life easier.
No, yeah, 2015-16, so released 11th of December. So after that point, it must have been what spurred the Leicester lads on to go and win the Premier League. So thank you for that.
There you go.
Yeah, so I've got you to thank for my greatest ever moment. Sorry to any future wife, but you're not topping it. You can't though, can you? If Palace win the Premier League. Oh. To be fair, you've got children now. I don't know if you're allowed to answer the question. Would it be Palace winning the Premier League or?
The greatest days of my life have been my two children being born, but I was expecting them to be born. Whereas, if Palace win the Premier League, it'll be more shock, I think, than anything, because I'm just not expecting that. Which I'd imagine was the same with Leicester, that no one was actually expecting it to happen.
No, favourites for relegation. So
5,000 to 1.
5,000 to 1. 5,000 to 1. Yes, it was an absolute honour that season to have the whole country supporting us. It was incredible. We've touched on the '92 Club song there, and obviously they are some of your biggest hits. I've got a little quiz for you on how well you remember your famous lines. Now I'm expecting you to do quite well on this. There are some not so famous lines in there, but there are some ones that you will very easily get. Like the first one. So I'll just give you the quote and then you can finish it off. Accrington Stanley, who are they?
Exactly.
Exactly.
I can't. Do you know what? I can't actually claim credit for that line because that is borrowed from a very famous advert from the 1980s, which was an advert for the Milk Board.
Wow.
Which is literally like the company that's supposed to promote drinking milk. I guess everyone was like malnourished or something in the 80s. And that's a really famous advert if you go on YouTube of these two kids saying something like, "My mum told me if I drink my milk, I'll grow up and I can play for Accrington Stanley." And the other kid goes, Accrington, there was Scousers, "Accrington Stanley, who are they?" The other kid goes, "Exactly." And that's where it's from. I can't. Oh, that's funny because I get people send me that all the time and like tweet me it and stuff, and it's lovely that it's resonated. But like, I didn't write. That's literally the only bit of the entire song that I didn't write. It's borrowed from that advert.
Mad. Fair enough. Well, there's the story of the Accrington Stanley line. Moving on to number 2 now. This is from 2015-16. So the first song, Aston Villa. Their style is kinda
vanilla.
It was.
Was it? It probably was.
15-16. Did they go down that season?
Yeah, they may have done.
I remember we drew with them 1-1. Random spurt of football knowledge for you. Somebody weird scored for them. Can't remember who.
Yeah.
I must say, I was looking at the 15-16 the other day. Loic Remy was one of the most sought-after strikers for mid-table Premier League sides. God.
Played for Palace. Played for Palace that season.
He did. He was that.
It was terrible for us. It was rubbish. Didn't do anything.
Yeah, wow. It was a throwback when I saw the name, I must say. Question 3. Brentford, I'm pleased to announce, back to pubs by their ground.
Oh, it's got to be. If this is a non-running, it's got to be 4 pubs outside their ground.
It was. I've watched back all the songs to look at this. So yes, you can see it go from 4 to 3 because someone told you in the comments one of them had gone, and then after a couple of years it went back up to 4.
Yeah. So are they? But then they move grounds.
You know what?
So I don't know what the deal is now.
How many? I'm searching up. How many pubs do Brentford have?
The pubs must still be there, but then obviously they've moved like round the corner, haven't they, to this new ground? So
right. How many pubs?
Can you still go to the pubs?
It doesn't say. It just comes up with the stadium. Why can't someone on Google have gone by? There's so many pubs Brentford have outside their ground. I'm not happy.
Yeah, just tell us.
Just tell us. It's the answer we all want. So yes, there we go. Back up to 4 after initially going down to 3, and it seems to go on quite a while, that one. You'll get this one easily. This is in every single one of your songs. Bristol City, Bristol Rovers. Guess what?
They still hate each other.
Yeah, they still don't like each other pretty much.
Yeah.
Don't think that's
That's got to
changing.
be true. I mean, that's a running gag, isn't it, on the songs? But like, that's got to be true. They'll never like each other, surely.
It is, and there's just constantly that scene of them two fighting.
Yeah, well, yeah, which I found on YouTube, and I guess it's some like weird pitch invasion from years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like each other, and fair play. Why should they?
Yeah, I mean, I back it. Number 5, where the hell is...
Well, this one has been turned into merchandise.
It
So
has.
if I'm wrong, then Fleetwood,
Indeed.
famously. But I get tagged in TikTok videos every day from people saying, I found Fleetwood, or like some random Fleetwood Town videos, or edit. I get that has really resonated with people, and I apologise to anyone from Fleetwood or who supports Fleetwood, because it was just supposed to be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But that has become.
It has.
I've become synonymous with that now. That and Accrington Stanley are the two clubs I've become synonymous with.
I must say, thinking of it now, maybe I should do an announcement video announcing you on the pod and just, go at Jim Daly, I found Fleetwood. I should maybe do that on the Daniel Talks Football Instagram to announce you. I feel like that would be one hell of a way to to announce the biggest guest onto Daniel Talks Football.
A couple of years ago, I emailed Fleetwood Town FC and said, this is really embarrassing. Hi guys, I'm a kind of a YouTuber, kind of a big deal, and do some songs and running gag about you guys. Maybe you could invite me along. We could make a video. I could like come to a game or something. And no reply.
No,
Nothing.
That's not surprising.
Completely blanked. Yeah, so not popular in Fleetwood, unfortunately.
No, well, hey ho. Another person who isn't popular is Steve Bruce. And in 1920, you said Steve Bruce is watching out for what?
It's got to be cabbages.
It does. It does.
Because he got someone threw a cabbage at him.
Yep. I mean, I initially went through this and didn't put the answers with it, so I had to go through and put the answers. I didn't. I just knew it was cabbages. I checked and I was like, "This is going to be cabbages." It was. Yeah.
Someone threw a cabbage at him. I mean,
You're speechless.
I know. Because it's who takes a cabbage to a football match?
It's a great question.
Like, you can't get in with like flags or anything now. But like one steward was like, well, "That's a big bulge there. What is that? It's cabbage." Yeah, right. In you go.
Do you think they've just like stuffed it down their underwear and he's just pulled it out and just gone like, Steve Bruce,
or,
have
like,
this?
in his coat pocket or something, and thrown it at Steve Bruce. I mean, it worked because
It did.
he left, and
They're not
we're
doing
all still
badly
talking
now.
about it now, 5 years later. So
Yeah, so there we
that
go.
was.
Steve Bruce. Cabbages. Number 7. This is from your most recent edition. Somebody is in the mud. Who's in the mud?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good.
I know. I made this one quite hard. I didn't want you to get all of them right.
I think I know. Because in my head I was like, I think it's like in the mud. So 1, 2, 3, 4 syllables. I think it's when because Scunthorpe got relegated out of the Football League, so it's Tiny Temper.
It is. Tiny Temper still getting mentions every year.
Yeah. Even though that song came out about 12 years ago.
Yep. Tiny Temper's still there. So yes, fair enough. You got the one I didn't think you were going to get. That's really annoying. You're going to get 4 marks now, I think, because you're not going to forget any of these, I don't think. So
well, I should do, in theory.
You should, yes. You have, created these songs, but, it would have been fun if you got one wrong. No offence. Number 8. Easy. Crew Alexandra, Watson.
Alexandra.
Indeed. Yeah, that's.
And I've had to change that each year. I don't know if people
I know.
noticed too. What's an Alexandra? Who's an Alexandra? Where's an Alexandra?
Yeah.
Which is an Alexandra?
Where's
I'm running out of
confused me?
words.
Where's confused me? It'll be, how maybe is how next?
How? Yeah. When?
When's an Alexandra? Yeah. What? Yeah. So you've got 2 more left. What are you going to do after that?
I don't know exactly. I don't know. I'll have to change the line or something.
No.
A lot of the lines they've become so long running now that I sort of can't deviate from them.
You'll just have to make a joke about having no more words left to talk about
Exactly.
Alexandra. Yeah, you never know. Maybe you say Alexandra's gone missing or something. I don't know. You'll have to think of something. We can't lose the line. This next one, you've spoken about one of them being turned into merch. So has this one. I've actually seen this one in real life. Actually, I go to college in Nottingham. So that probably gives it away, but
Here we go.
and I've actually seen it walking down the street this much. Seriously, don't call Forest.
Not.
Indeed.
Yeah. It's very true, though. They don't like it.
No, yeah. I mean, I've never heard Notts Forest be said in Nottingham, and that doesn't surprise me because if I did, I think I would see a fight.
There'd be violence.
Yeah, but a lot of violence. A lot of violence.
No, I think it's absolutely. I can't remember. That's just one of those things that you just pick. I'm not a Forest fan, and I'm not from Nottingham. I've been there a few times, but it's just one of those things you pick up, isn't it? Like a football fact. You just.
Yeah, I mean, it's like saying Nottingham County.
Yeah, exactly.
That would not sound right.
It's true. Notts County.
I know, it's Notts County, it's Nottingham Forest. So yes, I'll agree with that one. I did see one thing I did want to ask you, when you went to Forest away this season, what was your experience with the trams? This is the really good content you get on Daniel Talks Football. I saw you, you seemed quite excited about taking a tram. So how was your experience?
Lovely, really lovely. I mean, I bear in mind that I most of my formative years in Croydon, which is home of the tram, famously. But yeah, my dad and I parked at a tram stop and got a lovely. This is a really boring story. Got a lovely tram into the centre. It was very quick, very clean, and then we got it back again.
Oh, great!
I cannot recommend it. And I actually, to a lot of my Palace mates, for like promoting the tram. Next time you go to Forest, you've got to get the tram, mate. They're like, oh my god, Jim, you are so boring.
I love it.
Since having kids, you've really become quite dull.
I love it. Yeah.
But it was good. Yeah, good. I recommend the tram.
Trams are great. There's the content you don't get anywhere else on on football YouTube. Talk about trams. Crystal Palace. Roy's in charge. I love him like my...
grandpa?
Yeah, grandpa. Yeah. I was wondering, if that one might slip you up. Nope. Loved Roy Hodgson, and then he left because
it was time.
He was old. Yeah, he was a bit old, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and still is. He hasn't left.
No, he
mortal coil yet, but and we're in a new direction with Vieira. It's all good. We'll
get onto him later. Still loved by the Palace fans though, Roy Hodgson, as was found out when he applauded the Palace fans for the Watford fans last year.
So good. And then he said the reason he couldn't go and applaud the Watford fans because they were too far away, like about 30 yards.
And he'd applauded all the Palace fans. Oh, it's awful. You can't applaud.
He was blowing kisses. He was blowing kisses to the homestyle. Oh, the ultimate trolling.
I love it. I mean, he knew he was gone and he didn't care.
Yeah.
Newcastle. Fans still trying to punch a... This was in 15-16.
Horse,
yes.
I think that's one of my best lines.
Do you?
I really do. I love that line, and we used to do that in the live show, and it always got a really big laugh. And then obviously I've had to take it out because of subsequent versions of the song. But that's one of the favourite lyrics I've ever written. Not that I condone human on animal violence.
No,
but it was such a ridiculous story and photo. And that line always makes me chuckle. Sure. So I'm proud of that one.
I just want to emphasise that in case Kurt Zoom was listening, we do not condone this.
Correct.
Kurt, keep your hands or feet or anything off cats. My sister's a massive cat person. The day that came out, she was not happy.
Quite rightly. I mean, I thought he might get sacked from the club.
His brother didn't he? I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think his brother did. He used to be at Bolton, then he went somewhere else. I think he got sacked. No, West Ham went, we've spent a lot of money on this guy, we're not going to sack him.
Well,
which is football, isn't it? And then, last but not least, what is the point of...
Crawley.
Indeed.
Poor Crawley.
And I want an answer. What's the point of Crawley?
Have you been to Crawley?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. No, it's perfectly... I grew up not far from Crawley and been there many times. It's just got a very dull 1960s style town centre, which is a bit... But I just... That's one of those ones where you do a little line in a song, everyone finds it funny, and you think, oh, I've got to do this every year now. It feels like I'm just hammering Crawley.
Yeah, well, them and Fleetwood and Accrington Stanley... keep going.
I'm not very popular around the UK, am I?
You are in some places.
Just not those places.
Nottingham really likes you.
Nottingham loves me. Crawley hates me.
I don't. As I say, I'm a Leicester fan. I don't think we like you that much. We haven't had any Leicester lines. We need a Jamie Vardy line about his wife.
I will say that I did Leicester Comedy Festival last year and sold out my room. I had a lovely day. So people of Leicester, big. I'm a big fan.
Great place. So yeah, waiting for a Jamie Vardy line this year, or any Leicester line, to be honest, because he might go.
The problem is actually, this is genuinely probably a good, slightly serious point. It's not serious; it's about a stupid parody song. But I do get lots of people each year being like, "Please say something about Lincoln. Please say something about Pompey, etc." And like I do try, but because of the way the song is, and there's so many teams to get through, and the way they fall in line, sometimes it's just some teams just it's really hard to do it because then I'd have to like move everyone down to the second line, and it would like affect the whole song. And so unfortunately, some teams do just get rattled past, and I apologise.
Yeah,
but
it happens.
The way it goes.
Speaking of that, 5th of September 2020, great song as per usual this year, mate. As a Leicester fan, still waiting for a line for us. So I was one of them.
You got one of them.
I was one of them.
But Leicester are in that Leicester, Liverpool, Lincoln. You're in that
we're
line.
All together.
It's really hard to pull out a gag.
It is. No, let's be honest. We are an irrelevant Premier League club nowadays, anyway.
I did, okay, so this might soften the blow, but if I did, it would probably be something about James Maddison, because I'm a huge James Maddison fan. I think he's brilliant. But it would probably be something about his receding hairline.
Yeah, and also, let's be honest, he'll probably leave this summer anyway. So,
so he might not,
Yeah, that chance might have gone. Please stay, James. I love you.
I think he's brilliant.
I think he's great.
Player.
I think he's great. Gareth, wake up. Right, moving on from Gareth Southgate slander, because I could be here all night. We'd be here till Tuesday. What's your favourite joke you've ever written?
Yeah, I've seen this on the list, and I've been trying to rattle my brain because there's obviously I've written loads and loads of jokes. I've got a couple that I sort of still do from the early days, but like they're not like one-liners. So I'm like, how long does Daniel want to sit here listening through to a setup?
I would happily hear it.
So I do one. Oh, do I do this one? It works better in a club set. But I do one about my wife and I, because like we are both in our 30s. Like we've gone to loads of weddings, and there was one year we did go to, literally went to 7 weddings. Mm-hmm. So I went to 7 weddings, and we were only invited to 4, just because obviously it's the bug of weddings. And then I do a joke about, and it's based on a true story, that a friend of mine did something slightly unusual at this wedding. He took his wife's last name, and everyone goes, "Ooh," and I go, "Yeah, now she's just known as Carol." And for some reason, that joke always lands, and it's always a nice way to open up and then I do a joke about countdown off the back of it and stuff. But that is based on a true story, not the fact that this lady lost her last name, but more that a friend of mine did take his wife's last name, and so that set that joke up. And actually, I've done the same thing. When my wife and I, we've merged our names, so I've done the same thing as well. But that's one of my staple jokes. But I did think this might be a good chance to tell you. To reveal to the world the first ever joke that my 3-year-old daughter's written. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, absolutely. This will be a short, probably. This will be a reel. I'm overusing this to every extent possible. So
she's literally in the last couple of weeks got into a rhythm of like making up jokes. I'm sure it's something that every 3-year-old does. And she's aware that like what I do for my career and stuff. Daddy makes people laugh, and she's aware of what I do. And then she just started like telling jokes, and most of them made no sense, and this was the first one that sort of made sense, so I wrote it down. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's on a theme, which I'll be honest, a lot of the jokes currently are on this theme, which probably won't be a surprise. Anyway, here we go. Why did the poo monster laughing already, brilliant, go to the living room to do a poo?
No idea.
Because he wanted to. That's actually quite a good joke.
Decent. I've actually got something a bit like that later on in the football jokes.
But like, she's done the setup, she's done the punchline, she's done the sort of weird little anti-comedy joke punchline. I was quite proud of that. I think that's quite good.
That's
so
great.
I've written that down. That was on the 19th of December last year.
That is absolutely excellent. I knew it was going to be about poo.
They all are.
I couldn't bet anything about it being on poo. Yeah. Any young child I see, it's poo. Even my cousin, who's year 6 now, he still loves his poo jokes. And I'm a bit
they are like, being I'm a 38-year-old man, and like, it is a bit funny. It just is.
It
It
is.
just is. It's just one of life's facts. It's just a bit funny.
It is. I went to babysit them. There was poo jokes for about 40 minutes, and I loved quite a few of them. Some of them I went, all right, you're just saying the word poo
That's
now,
enough.
guys. This isn't even funny. But no, some of them were genuinely great. So I love that. That is an incredible joke. That will go into the Daniel Talks Football Hall of Fame, probably the first entry, because the rest of the stuff on this channel is absolute shite. But yes, stand up.
Yeah.
You obviously recently did a new stand up tour. How did that go? And do you have more tours planned?
So it went really well, thank you. It's my first solo show.
Mm-hmm.
Did it at the Edinburgh Fringe last year, and would have been happy to just have a few people turn up and whatever, but I ended up packing out my rooms most of the time, having really good numbers. I got a 4-star review from Pick of the Fringe, which was I'd have taken 2 or 3 stars. I'm delighted. Got to perform at the Pleasance as part of it, so it was a really lovely time. And then I've sort of come back and done that gig. I did it in London last month as a kind of like send off to it, and we sold out that as well. So it's been a really lovely experience doing that particular show. And I'm definitely going to do more in the future. I'm currently taking a little bit of a break from stand-up because of having 2 young kids.
Yes.
And our youngest is very young indeed. So just going to try and get through the next 6 months or so and try and support my wife and make sure that, because our little one is in and out of sleep. But I will come back to it at the end of the year, and then my plan is to do another solo show next year for Edinburgh and tour it around the country. And it's definitely loads more planned.
Great, that's excellent news. I'll expect to hear the poo joke in there.
I might open with it.
Open with it. Genuinely, I think it's absolutely excellent. But bring her along. Just get her to say it herself. Stand up on the stage.
Me. She could do the opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, stand up on the stage. I've got a really good joke for everybody about the poo monster. Yep, great. It'll get everybody creasing. Moving away from poo monsters, we could have a full podcast on it. To be honest, I could, ring up, my
Always
cousin.
Always start to a question, isn't it? Moving away from poo monsters.
Moving away from poo monsters. Football podcast. So not a poo expert. More recently, you've been doing more short form content on your channel. Why have you made the change, and how are you enjoying it?
Loving it. I made the change because they're quicker and easier to do than the parody songs. And once I had our first child, I found the time to do the parody songs just disappeared, and they'd normally take me a day, maybe 2 days to make. I just didn't have that time.
No.
Doing little 30-second sketches, it's a lot easier. I've always secretly wanted to try acting and try sketch stuff. Never thought I was very good at it. But it turns out I'm not that bad at it, and I really enjoy it. So it's been loads of fun, and I'm actually working on some sort of content calendar bits and stuff for my channel, and loads more short form content included in that. So that will be something that's staying definitely, because I really enjoy doing it.
I must say, I love how every Premier League fan does to this. They crack me up always.
It's a nice format, that, isn't it?
It is.
Format. Everyone gets a mention.
Yeah.
I've had to buy a lot of football shirts.
Yeah.
So, but I do love football shirts, so I'm fine with that as well. Yeah. But they're really fun to do.
And you can mark it up as a business expense at that point as well, which is always a plus.
Very true. And my dad's an accountant, and so he's approved all my business expenses.
Excellent.
We're all good.
Excellent. But no, the short form content is absolutely excellent. Any time I'll see them pop up on my Instagram or my YouTube. I watch them both, to be honest, because I'm a little nerd about my YouTube sub box. Yes. And I've got to watch every single video or it'll really irritate me.
Love that. If anyone's listening, do that. Because, then I get the views as well. But,
yeah, exactly.
But you're right, because then you're curating your inbox as well for YouTube, so it's worth doing.
Exactly. But no, they do make you chuckle, and in 30, 40, 50 seconds, it's certainly excellent. I need to get on short form content. The issue is I usually can't be bothered. You record 3 things a week. It's like, let's go and do some short form content.
And then the week goes, isn't it? Time flies.
If you want to give me an extra day, then I can probably get some. I probably still want to get some done, actually. Speaking of the channel, what are the future plans for the channel?
So I'm literally in the process of employing an editor, because I've realised that I need a bit of help, and the channel won't grow really unless I am a bit more consistent with my content. I've sort of over the last 6 years or 7 years since trying to do it properly. I do it in waves, so I have a real burst of energy and get loads of stuff up and start getting loads of views, and then I end up stopping. And really, the secret to any internet content creation is consistency. So the parody songs are coming back. I'm planning to do weekly parody songs. Keep doing the sketch content, and once I get all that sorted in the rhythm, then other stuff, a bit more live stuff, maybe considering starting a Patreon. Lots of. I'm really going to give it a go this year and try and grow the channel and just keep making funny content because I love making it, and clearly people like it as well. So yeah, lots of big plans for the channel this year.
For sure, that's great to hear, mate. I mean, yeah, the parodies are where it's at. I must say, I did always used to enjoy the other 5 jokes about. That was
a fun series. And again, if I can find the time and find an editor, because again, the thing that takes the longest is editing these videos. But if I can find someone that I can work with, then I think all that content can come back. But I just don't have the time to edit it myself, so I need to start bringing some help on board. But that is my plan. I've had loads of people already apply to work with me on that, so I'm going to sift through those applications and get cracking.
Good man. And then last but not least for this long segment, I think this is probably the longest opening segment we've ever done, which I expected, but it's great.
I can talk. I love talking. So
I mean, as a podcast person, I've had people that have come on here, answered questions in like 10 words. I'm like, I don't have enough questions for this. Just talk more, please. What are the future plans for your comedy career?
That's a good question as well. I mean, I'm definitely getting back to stand up at the end of the year, and obviously working on a show for next year. I recently got an acting agent, which has been lovely. So I was up for an advert this week for a recall. Didn't get it, unfortunately, but I'm very close to booking an advert. And so more acting potentially. I'm thinking. I'm not a trained actor, but I'm thinking of maybe doing some training and stuff on that. So more of that, but that's off the back of the sketches really, because they've been so much fun. So, hopefully some TV work with that kind of thing. And I helped produce a TV game show that's just gone up. The pilot's gone up last week, and we're hoping that comes to series. And I produced the comedian on that, and so loads in the pipeline, loads of fun stuff.
What was the game show called? Are we allowed to know? Or
it's called Fando Football.
Fando Football.
It's hosted on Spencer Owen's channel.
Of course,
he's one of the hosts, along with Chelsea Grimes, and great guy. And it's a pilot, but if people want to go and check it out, please do. And then they're hoping it might go to series later on in the year. Been loads of fun to work on. Brilliant production team, lovely people. Been a really, really great gig. So hopefully more of that. But anything that keeps me writing comedy or producing or keeping my sort of skin in the game is definitely part of the plan.
For sure. Well, that's been absolutely excellent. What we'll do is we'll take a short break here before we come back and discuss Jim's beloved Crystal Palace. We are back from a short break that turned into a longer break to discuss Crystal Palace. Yes, the person who created the poo monster is creating more issues. Not to do with poo this time, though. Yeah, trying to get involved. If she wants to come and tell jokes, more than welcome. Would be interesting to see how it turned out. Might get demonetised, but that's fine because we don't earn any money anyway. So we will move from Jim's personal career into Crystal Palace. How's the season been going for Palace so far?
Do you know what? It's actually, on paper, I don't think it's a particularly bad season, but the context around last season, which was Vieira's first season, that was so good, and so good for so many reasons. In terms of the points return was good, the football was excellent. We scored lots of goals. We had great players. Conor Gallagher was on loan. Everyone fell in love with him. So there was tick so many boxes. This season is different, but we're actually probably on course for a mid-table finish. Which, even as even 10 years into staying in the top flight, I'd still bite your hand off for, especially having watched Palace nearly go out of business twice. Since I've supported them. So, but I think everyone's a bit flat feeling a bit flat because it's not as good as last season. But there's various issues around recruitment and ownership and blah blah blah, stuff I won't bore you with here, but the overall picture is I think we're doing okay. It could be better, could be slightly more exciting, but I think we'll be okay.
Fair enough. You've discussed Vieira there. Obviously, his first season was excellent. Everybody, was gassing him up, saying that he was going to be the next one at the Arsenal job, because people were kind of expecting Vieira to possibly fall off. That obviously didn't happen. And he's still at Palace. Do you think he could reach those heights of the Arsenal job when Arteta were to move on? And how is this season going for him?
I was genuinely concerned at some points last season when Arsenal weren't doing as well, that they might panic and come in for Vieira. I think at some point he probably will go there. Whether it's soon or not, I don't know. But sometimes some transfers just like they're just written, aren't they? And you just know they're going to happen. And I feel like with Vieira, it's meant to happen. But he's still got a lot to learn. He's a really smart guy. He's really charismatic. The players clearly love playing for him. I mean, most of them would have watched him playing when they were kids, so I think they're all in awe of him a bit. So he's got a lot of great attributes, but his in-game management is poor sometimes. He's only just this season become a bit more flexible in his system, but before he was playing like the same, essentially fourth, quite narrow 4-3-3, and like wouldn't change it depending on who was available. And we lost a few games last season because he was quite stubborn. But he's learning this season on that. It's a learning curve for him. But we knew that would be the case. We're in a transition at the moment. But I think if he keeps showing that he can learn, and he has been this season in terms of the system and personnel. I mean, he's been let down by the board, I will say, at Palace in terms of signings. But I think he's someone that wants to learn. He's a lovely bloke. Everyone's in love with him. Everyone wants him to do well. Really wants him to do well at Palace. So I think the sky's the limit for him. But obviously, as we know in football, things can change in a heartbeat. If Palace suddenly got relegated or whatever, then I think his stock would, not be as it wouldn't be as good. And to be honest, at the moment, Arsenal are doing so well. I think Arsenal would need to drop off a bit, and there'd be various things need to happen. But I think Vieira's got really good potential in this as a manager.
I'll agree with that one. I think I could liken Vieira going for the Arsenal job as Company going for the City job. He'll need to wait a couple of years, but exactly. Both will happen.
Yeah, I agree. And it would be foolish of both clubs to try that sooner rather than later. They're better off waiting a couple of years, maybe even a couple of years too long, and because they're both huge jobs. But you're right, they both feel like things that inevitabilities at some point.
I mean, it took Arteta an awful long time to get it right at Arsenal because he possibly got the job too early.
But they gave him the time. And,
they did.
And actually, it proves that these days, I know we're in a world where managers get sacked after losing, 2 or 3 games on the bounce. But you give someone time if you really believe in what they do, which is why I think Vieira won't get sacked at Palace. I think everyone does believe in what he does. Give people time, and I think they can surprise you. So I'm really pleased for Arteta and Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of them. A lot of managers don't get given the time unless you're Brendan Rodgers. He's been given. Don't you know what? We're not doing that.
But another manager that's not been supported by the board, I would say, in terms of recruitment.
Yeah, I'll agree. I mean, granted, he blamed the fans, he blamed the players, he blamed the owner, he blamed everyone but himself.
The tea lady.
Yeah, well. I mean, after Brighton away, he told the fans to stop booing the players. We weren't booing the players, but sure, Brendan, do you, Brendan? You know what?
You do you.
You do you, and please.
Well, he always has. He's one manager that always has done.
To be fair, he lives 2 villages away from me, so if I shout loud enough, he might be able to hear me.
One of my favourite football myths, and I think this is true, is that Brendan Rodgers has got a life-size self-portrait of himself in his hallway. That's one of those myths that, like, even if it wasn't true, you could believe it.
Looking ahead to the summer, how do you think that will go?
Well, the big one, as ever, is Wilfried Zaha.
Yes.
And his contract is up this summer.
It is.
I suspect it might be the year that we finally say goodbye to Wilf, although, given what he's done for the club over the last 10 years, he'd go with the best wishes of every Palace fan. I don't think anyone would begrudge him at all. He's a Palace legend, and he is He is literally the reason we are where we are now, in terms of everything he's done for us. But the club would be in a bit of position, really, in terms of what to do next. And there's already loads of recruitment issues. We need a striker. Our current strikers can't score goals. We've bought some midfielders, which is good. We probably need some cover at fullback. But if Wilf goes, then that changes everything. And if he goes for nothing, which he probably will, you're then asking the club to spend. I mean, his sort of replacement would cost 50 million minimum.
Yeah.
So they're going to be in a tricky situation. There's also rumours that the American owners, shareholders, well, it's not even rumours. They tried to buy Chelsea. They tried to buy Man United. So they clearly don't want to be here.
That's not great.
But Steve Parish doesn't have the money on his own to fund those kind of signings. So it's like crossroads, really, for Palace. It'd be very interesting to see what happens this summer.
Yeah, I mean, you're a club who needs the issue is your club needs a striker. Every club needs a striker.
Yes.
Chelsea need one.
Yes, Chelsea need one, obviously, in a slightly better calibre. But if you look at teams like Southampton,
Leeds,
Che Adams, they bought for the Championship, who we link with, has been okay in patches but struggled.
Yeah.
Adam Armstrong, none of these. You could still spend 20 to 30 million quid on a striker in the Championship. It's no guarantee. No. Neil Maupay, Neil Maupay was good for Brighton, struggled at Everton, came from Brentford, so. Ollie Watkins, of course, doing very well, former Brentford, but there's no guarantee.
No, there isn't.
That's the problem. You have to have endless money to keep chucking at these players and trying and hope that one of them pays off.
Yeah, I mean, strikers for mid-table sides, mid-lower table sides, everyone needs one. Yeah. I was genuinely looking at early this year. There's not many sides you could say they don't need striker. I mean, even us as a fairly established now Premier League side, we need strikers, and everybody needs them. So yes, it's an issue with that. Incomings. You obviously discussed about the a need for a new striker there. Is there anything else you will need to do besides replacing Wilfried Zaha?
Oh God, striker is a priority. I mean, I don't know how much you've seen of Jean-Philippe Mateta.
He's not great.
It is like someone's won a competition to play for Paris because he's weirdly confident. Despite having no ability, it's a bizarre combo, and he missed a few chances, big chances against Liverpool the other night. We've got Odsonne Edouard, we've got from Celtic, who is talented but seems to have zero self-belief. Mm-hmm. Then you got Mateta, who would be picked last on the playground, but seems to think it's basically got Nicholas Bentner syndrome. Where he thinks he's the best player in the world.
Yeah,
if we could combine the two, we might have a decent striker. But it's, as you said, like. Strikers for mid-table clubs are like gold dust, so that's high on the priority. But we definitely need midfield's an issue because James McArthur is now 80, so he's struggling for fitness. Even though
he's still there.
Yeah, he's been injured all season. He's back on the bench, but he can't do many minutes. Doucouré's been fantastic, but he's literally been pulling the strings of midfield on his own. Mm-hmm. And fullback, Klein and Mitchell are perfectly good, but Klein needs an upgrade probably, and Mitchell needs backup. There's our only backup at left back is Jeffrey Schlapp, and Jeffrey divides the Palace fan base like no other player ever. I like Jeffrey Schlapp, but he really struggling at the moment. So, mate, there are various holes to be fixed in this squad, but as you said, every other club around us in the league will be probably trying to patch up the same holes, so
pretty much
it is difficult.
It is. I mean, Jeff Schlapp is a player who will obviously have a special place in my heart for the things he did for my football club. Love Jeffrey Schlapp. I mean, I can look over to my right and see a photo on the wall of Leicester City lifting the Premier League trophy, and I can see him between Mark O'Brien and Danny Simpson. So Jeffrey Schlapp is a player who will always go down.
The only Palace player ever who's won the Premier League.
Jeffrey Schlapp. Wow, that is.
I lied. Gary Cahill won it, didn't he?
Of course, Gary Cahill did win it. Yes.
But I like Schlapp, but he basically no one knows where he plays.
No.
So he's constantly played in about a million positions, and he never gets to run in the team, and never gets to sort of settle. The poor guy. He's clearly a good player.
Yeah, it's same issue he had at us. So 8 years running now he's had that issue. Is he a left back? Is he a left winger? Is he can play centre mid? What is he? So it's an issue. He's got a lot of pace though. too much pace for centre mid is what I always say. He's too fast.
And he's powerful. I wonder if he might. I used to be a striker, didn't he? But like,
Yeah.
when he breaks through the lines, he's brilliant, and he's very powerful. But he does it once a month. He's just not consistent enough, unfortunately.
He used to be our sort of player to come off the bench for Mark Albright when we needed some pace in the game. In that title, which he was great as. Apart from that, not anything special. You've discussed on players you need to bring in terms of outgoings. Who needs to go?
Well, in theory, no one apart from Wilf, because our squad is not that deep. I suspect, I don't know whose contracts are up. I suspect Mateta probably goes because he's just not good enough. If Wilf goes, that's obviously an issue. Guaita has signed a new deal, which is great because he's a really good keeper.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chance Mark Gahey might possibly go, but it would be for big money.
It would be for a lot, yes.
But he is the real deal. I mean, he
looks excellent.
Superb. Other than that, I mean, I think a lot of Palace fans would probably want Schlupp to go, unfortunately, but I don't think he will, because Vieira seems to...
He might. Contract's up.
So
there's a club option for another year, but his contract is up, so...
Vieira's got a soft spot for him. He clearly likes him, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a last-minute one-year deal extension there. But other than that, I'm not sure if anyone else leaves. Jordan Ayew will never leave Palace and will be here until he's 100. And Edouard, I hope they keep for one more year to give him a go. But yes, other than that, it could just be Wilf.
Yeah, I mean, we can run through the players' contracts at Sparring in a second, so I've got them up, and there's a lot of them.
Okay, go on. I'll give you one-word answers.
Okay, so Zaha.
Possibly.
Samuel Okonga obviously will go back to Arsenal. Jeffrey Schlupp has a club option for 1 year, but...
I think he stays. I think he'll stay.
Signs that, okay. Jordan Ayew?
Stay.
Klein?
Stay. He's earned the right back spot. He's done well.
Fair enough. Milivojevic?
Oh, might go,
okay.
Might go, yeah.
Ward?
Will never leave Palace. I mean, the guy is an absolute warhorse. I suspect he either retires and joins as a coach or gets a one-year deal. Or no, maybe, possibly goes back to Pompey. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see him going at 33.
Oh, but he's just, we love him. We all love him so much.
The issue is Klein and Joel Ward as your right-back options.
I know. Well, this is an issue. Yeah, this is a big issue.
Don't film with confidence.
I wish we'd have gone for Jed Spence, but he went to Spurs.
Yeah, I think I actually did a video where I said Jed Spence should go to you lot, so I'm actually proud of that one then. James Tompkins.
If you'd have asked me after Boxing Day when we played Fulham at home, lost 3-0 and he was at fault for almost every goal and got sent off, I'd have said never plays for Palace again. But has played a few games recently, including against Brighton, where he scored the equaliser and has been very good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a one-year deal, and I'm realising that's not a one-word answer. Sorry.
That's fine. And then last but not least, James MacArthur.
Will stay, I think. He will definitely either get a one-year deal or become a coach. Definitely.
35 years old.
But we've missed him this season. He brings a lot of energy to the midfield, and we've genuinely missed him. But injuries are a problem.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he retires, but then stays on as a coaching staff. For
energy-based players, if you're picking up injuries.
Exactly.
At the age of 35, you're
energy coach.
Yeah, pretty much. You did mention Odsonne Edouard. Now, this is a player that I watched a lot 2 or 3 seasons back because we were linked with him. He was like, the guy we were constantly linked with. He was going to be our new striker. Then we signed Patson Daka, who is average. How has he properly settled in? I know you said he's sort of been here and there. I know quite a bit about him, partly because I sat there and forced myself to watch the Scottish Premier League to find out what it'd be like when we signed him. We were really close to signing him, then went, you know what, we'll have Daka instead. And I was like, great, I've wasted half my week. But how has he done?
He's struggled for game time. That's been his issue. When he's had runs in the team, he's actually scored a few goals.
Okay.
I mean, he got 2 in his debut against Spurs, which was lovely. Beat Spurs 3-0, which was just it was an amazing day.
Yeah.
But he's struggled for a decent run of games. Every time he then sort of hits a bad patch, he's out. I think Vieira doesn't fancy him.
No.
Unfortunately, I think there's a real player in there, but he needs games. And if he does play, he'll either be up front, and then the next game he'll be out wide left, and then he's on the bench, and then he's up front again, and the poor guy can't really get a proper run. So I don't know. It pains me to say it. I think the only thing that would result in him having a successful run at Palace is probably a change of manager, which I don't want to see.
No.
But I think I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I like him a lot. But they just haven't found a system for him yet. So it's a real shame. Shame.
It is. For a new striker to come in this summer, you'd need to lose one on Mateta, Edouard and Ayew. So it'll be interesting to see which one does move on, presuming you get a new striker, which God you need to. You hope it's Mateta, or well, we will have to see. And then, last but not least, if you could sign any realistic player for Palace, who would you sign?
Yeah, so the player that came to mind immediately was, this is probably not a shock, but Conor Gallagher.
I wondered if you might say that.
Because he was just... The whole team was built around him last season, and he was just brilliant. And he's a lovely kid, big smile on his face, lovely blonde hair, everything about him. He scores goals, he tackles, he just... And I understand why he's gone back to Chelsea to try and play. It's not worked out, and they're a complete basket case.
They are.
So if there's a chance that he could come back next summer, I would pay literally anything. But I will say, Sambi Lokonga, he's only played 3 games for us, or 3 or 4 games, has looked really good. Okay. So if we can't get Gallagher in the summer, if Arsenal do win the league, then start spending millions on their squad, and Lokonga can't get a look in, I'd be very happy if we went in for him in the summer. It's not Connor, but he does look pretty good.
So it's one of Conor Gallagher or Samuel Lokonga then is the dream realistic
for me. I'd be very happy if we can get one of those this summer. Yeah, I think they. I mean, obviously, I know they're not strikers, but I think that would. I would love Conor back so much. But.
Yeah, I must say, I don't know who I would go for as a dream realistic signing. I'm trying to think of top strikers around Europe that you could maybe get, but the issue is there's a big lull between the really top ones who still aren't people like Jonathan David. We don't really know the level of, but Palace can't spend the money. But then is he really good enough for Manchester United? I don't know. But then, there's no just middling players out there, and everybody needs one. So
my main problem is I don't watch enough football from other leagues, so my knowledge is appalling. So so I've just gone for 2 players that have already played for Palace recently because my knowledge is really poor.
I mean, I have opinions of other people's opinions. That could be called plagiarism, but I say it's not. I just have opinions of what other people say, and then I go off that. I watch enough. Listen to what people say and stuff. But yeah, mainly it's opinions of others' opinions. On that note of me admitting that the whole podcast is a scam, please keep listening.
It's an homage.
We will take another short break before we come back when Jim will rate some of your jokes/puns. This could be absolutely awful. We are back from the break to come back and rate your jokes/puns. I put out something on the Instagram asking for some jokes, and we have got 13 jokes here to go through and rate 1 to 10. Probably we'll rate them 1 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get into it with the first one from a guy called Tom. The girl said no DMs in her bio. Thankfully, I'm a striker.
I literally don't get it. Oh, no DMs.
No DMs. No
very
DMs.
Good. Okay.
No, the double meaning.
Okay,
DMs, yeah.
That was a thinker. That one. But as a football fan and a previous player of Championship Manager, I should have got that one. I like it. That was the setup. I was slightly worried where that was going. But, actually, quite a wholesome punchline. So
yes.
I'm going to give that one 8 out of 10.
Fair enough. There we go. A good start for you, Tom. Yes, I can see why you were scared, especially considering our previous conversation. The second one, oh God, this is awful. I started watching football because I could see it's very relevant to my life. Little to no goals.
Oh. I mean, that's good.
It's sad.
It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a solid. I'd say it's quite solid, but that's the sort of one I think you did in a comedy club. The audience would go, "Oh," rather than laugh.
Just not funny.
So I'd give that one a 5.5 out of 10.
5.5 out of 10. Well, that's fair enough, to be fair.
Not bad, is it? Because the structure's there.
Yeah.
It's just a bit depressing.
It is. So, what's your name? Peter, reach out if you're struggling.
Yeah. I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah, if you need anything. Number 3. Oh, God. Most people receive Christmas cards in December. Ramos just gets red ones.
I feel like that's a joke that needs to be like rewritten.
Yeah,
because there's a joke in there.
There is. It's just not done well.
How would you? I don't even know how you'd go about rewriting that, but yeah, I would say that's a very basic. I'm trying to think of a football analogy. It's a 0-0 of a joke. That's like a drab 0-0 of a joke, I think. So maybe 3 out of 10 for that.
3 out of 10. Dave, do better.
Sorry, Dave.
Do better. The only thing that lasted less time than Liz Truss in Parliament was the Super League.
Hey, okay. Like, this hits a lot of points for me.
Yeah.
Hammering the Tories, tick. Sorry, I probably shouldn't. That should be
not a political podcast.
Not political. Podcast. Yeah. Totally fair. Anti-Super League.
Yeah.
Big fan of that as well.
Tick
so
that.
yeah, I like that a lot. It's good. I'll give that a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. We'll have that one. Harry Kane said he wanted to win trophies for Tottenham. That's just there's no punchline. Just there.
Good.
Just there.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's just sort of slightly anti. They call that anti-comedy, don't they? Where they're like, there isn't. You go against the grain of the setup and the punchline, but I like it. I mean, again, anything to take the mick out of Spurs. Fine with me.
Agreed.
That gets a 7 out of 10 as well.
Fair enough. These aren't doing too badly then.
They're not bad.
No, this one I'm not a fan of though. What did the Leicester fan expect to do after the 15-16 season? Wake up.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't sure where that was going.
Yes.
No, I like that. That's I would say that's quite a sweet joke.
It is
quite sweet. And I'd give that a 7. No, it was all real.
Yeah.
I give that a 7.5 because it's not. It's poking fun, but it's not like completely horrendous. It's not.
No.
I'd say it's quite a sweet joke.
Yeah. It is
7.5.
It is because he's a Forest fan and we won the league. So shut up. Any digs? Speaking of digs at Forest, the next one's a dig at Forest actually. But yeah. We didn't wake up, and I was there, so yeah, screw you. I left 2 Nottingham Forest tickets on my dashboard yesterday. Someone unfortunately broke in and left 2 more.
I've heard that done with other clubs. I've heard that done with Chelsea, Spurs. Yeah, Forest. Do you know what? Actually, it doesn't really work as Forest because Forest are doing. I know they got hammered yesterday, but doing okay at the moment.
Yeah,
I'd say a lot of Forest fans probably people. When I went to the Forest Palace game in November, last game before the World Cup, and we lost 1-0.
Yeah.
We had no shot on target, and that included having a penalty. That's how bad we were. I was really impressed, not just with the Forest team; they were very good. The fans were superb. I've not been to an away game yet and heard the home fans that loud, and I really do think if they stay up this season, which I think they will, I think the fans will have played a huge part in that. And in fact, their record at home this season is really good. So clearly they are helping. So no, I would say if I found 2 Forest tickets, I would probably take them.
Fair enough.
But that joke would work, I think, with like Chelsea.
It would.
Shambles. I give that a 4 out of 10.
Fair enough. Leicester fans do better, granted. As a Leicester fan, I will agree. And if I saw 2 Forest tickets, I would also be gutted. So yeah, I'd agree with that. And I go past the City ground every day on my way into Nottingham. I keep looking at it and go, can we win there finally? I'm fed up of losing there constantly. This is awful. I'm expecting this to be the worst of the worst. Where's the best place in America to shop for a football kit?
Yeah.
New Jersey.
I don't mind that. I quite like that.
Do you? Fair enough.
I do like a pun. Listen, I don't know if that's your dad's joke, but
it's not.
It feels dad jokey. But I am a dad, and I like dad jokes. So I think they should be embraced. And do you know what? That's got a nice setup. It's wholesome.
It is.
It's clean. It's got a
It
nice
is.
setup.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a strong punchline. That gets an 8 out of 10 for me.
There we go. Leicester fans, another one from you. Well done, mate. Did a little bit better than the last one. What's the difference between the Invisible Man and Scotland? You've got more chance of seeing the Invisible Man at the World Cup.
Yeah.
Easy one.
Yeah, easy win. Yes, tapping. It's tapping.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's a 7 out of 10 as well.
7
Solid.
out of 10.
Solid.
Poking fun at Scotland can never go wrong. Why is a football crowd learning to sing like a person opening a tin of sardines?
I'm already convoluted setup. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know.
They both have trouble with the key. Yeah.
Do you use a key to open this? You know it's not strong when you have to explain that.
I know, yeah. I think maybe you
Is it a key to open a tin of sardines?
I presume maybe at one point. I don't know. Say you've got to use a key to open a tin of sardines and it works, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like I think you used to.
Did you?
Well, I'm vegetarian. So I don't.
So you don't know
eat sardines. So I wouldn't.
You don't anymore. I don't know if you used to.
No, I've never eaten sardines. They just don't look that nice. Are they nice?
They're alright. I mean,
they just look a bit rubbish.
If you have them in tomato sauce, nice. If you have them in oil, no, go away. No, you're weird. The tomato sauce stuff quite.
So
nice.
Anyway, I can't remember what the setup was, but something about.
Is that the worst one?
Sardines.
Is that the worst one?
I'd say that's probably it's a low score of this one. I think probably.
I mean,
3.
it's just saying that football fans can't sing, which is mainly true. But yeah, fair enough.
But also I think that's one of those things where we can't sing, but we embrace it anyway.
Well, you're a better singer than me. I think most people are.
I don't know about that.
Oh, trust me. Trust me. I won't bless you because your windows will shatter. If it stops there, to be honest, super thankful. But yes, yeah. Moving on. Oh, this is another one. What is a goalkeeper?
You said that about the New Jersey one, and I liked it.
You might like this one. I think it's bad though. What is a goalkeeper's favourite snack? Beans on post. You love it.
I like it because it makes no sense.
It doesn't work.
You wouldn't have the beans on the. It doesn't.
It doesn't work.
Physically could not eat them off a post. You literally
couldn't. It doesn't work.
You'd have to glue them to the post or something. It makes no sense. But I could like it because it's so silly and it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
It actually gets a 6.5 from me.
6.5, fair enough.
I think that's. And I get that it's the whole beans on toast is a pun.
It's just awful.
Slang for post and that, but I liked it. Yeah, it makes no sense, but sometimes jokes don't have to make sense.
No, fair enough. 2 left now. After he retired from football, Fabian Delph started a new company called Delph and Safety.
Very nice. He should do that.
He should do that, to be fair.
He has the vibe of a health and safety officer.
He does. He does.
I like this one a lot. I love a pun, and I love a pun that reminds people to be safe and healthy at work. So, 7.5.
7.5. This is the guy sitting next to me in both media and English, so I'm sure I'll be hearing all tomorrow that a comedian rated my joke 7.5 out of 10. Can't remember if mine got more than that. I hope it did. And then last but not least, what does a West Ham United fan do after winning the Premier League? Turn off the Xbox.
Okay, similar to the wake up. Similar to the wake up gag.
Yeah.
Solid though. Takes the mick out of West Ham, which I'm totally fine with. I would say, but probably been used before for other clubs, which I think probably takes the mark off. But I would say I'll give that a 7.
Fair enough. That a 7. Before we round off this segment, I do want to know which one out of them do you think was the dad joke? I'll reveal it. But my dad did drop one in. It would surprise me if you guess it. But I'm interested to see what you say.
I don't know. None of them had a particularly strong dad joke. Maybe New Jersey.
No.
Potentially.
Actually, it was one of the most. It was the Xbox one, the West Ham one.
I nearly said that. I nearly thought, have you saved it till the end?
I did. I was going through the plan. I realised I hadn't put it on there, so I wrote it on the end.
Fair play. Fair play.
Well done, Dad.
That flummoxed me, that one, and it wasn't that dad jokey, and it was solid.
Well done,
So,
Dad.
yeah. What's your dad called?
Andrew.
Well done, Andrew. Nicely done.
Oh, he's not going to shut up now and keep making jokes. Please don't, Dad. Please. You can sing, but you can't make jokes. But that one was okay, I guess. Anyway, that comes to the end of the podcast, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Jim, you've been an absolute joy to have on. And genuinely, it's been amazing. Before we do round off the podcast, is there anything you want to shout out?
Oh, well, first, thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun. Really appreciate it. And it's been so nice. You've clearly put a lot of effort into this in terms of the format and the jokes and stuff, and the quiz on the
of course.
Lovely stuff. So really, really lovely format. And it's been an absolute joy talking to you. And I apologise for the breaks I've had to keep taking.
It's
my children not sleeping. Nothing to promote really, apart from as I say, I'm cracking on with more content online. So if anyone wants to enjoys silly football nonsense, which judging by those jokes, clearly
a bit like this podcast.
Then it's at Jim Daily Comedy, basically on every platform, and I really appreciate everybody that watches 1, 10, 100 of my videos. It honestly makes my day. So if anyone fancies getting involved, and then I get loads of DMs of people talking about their favourite videos and stuff, and I love that as well. So really appreciate anyone just checking out my content.
Love it. Thank you for coming on, mate. As I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. And to those of you at home, thank you for listening to this one. Fairly decent length, so I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to smash the like button, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe. Go over and follow the Instagram and the TikTok that hasn't been posted to in ages. Daniel Talks Football on both. And thank you all for listening to this one. I'll catch you all again in the next one. See ya!